So of all of the countries that are potentially going to get nukes, the one that makes all the headlines, of course, and we increasingly call it a threshold nuclear state, is Iran. Tell me a little bit about where you see Iran's program and how destabilizing it is right now.
Well, the first thing that I think is important to recall is that the nuclear deal that Iran reached, with 6 world powers in 2015 was an effective, strong non-proliferation agreement. And Iran was abiding by that deal when then President Trump decided to pull the United States out and reimpose sanctions on Iran in violation of the accord in May of 2018. And unsurprisingly, when the sanctions relief benefits dried up for Iran decided to violate the nuclear agreement in turn to try to leverage the U.S., back into the deal. And I think right now we're at a very critical moment where the United States is assessing whether or not the non-proliferation benefits of the accord can be restored because of the nature of Iran's violations. I mean, at this point, I think a return to the nuclear deal is still the best possible option for both the United States and Iran. I mean, it will put back in place more limits and intrusive monitoring on Iran's nuclear activity and provide Iran with the sanctions relief that it needs. And more importantly, perhaps, there is no better option than diplomacy when it comes to addressing Iran's nuclear risk. I mean, the United States and Israel, sometimes working in tandem, have over the years tried to stymie Iran's nuclear progress using an array of tactics, from cyber activities to the assassination of scientists. And every time, Iran has responded by ratcheting up its nuclear activities further. So when the United States says that it might pursue, a plan B, that all options are on the table, it's like, yes, those options are on the table, but they're not good options. I mean, if the United States, or Israel, or the two countries working together were to, conduct a strike against Iran's nuclear facilities, I mean, I'm concerned that we'd see kind of the adverse impact, that rather than abandon its nuclear program, Iran would be more incentivized to actually pursue nuclear weapons to prevent any sort of attack on its territorial integrity down the road. So again, I think military solutions, I think sanctions pressure, all of these may have some successes in the short term, but in the long term, it's just more likely to push Iran in the wrong direction. So I think it's critical to right now try to pursue a return to the nuclear deal. And if that fails, to consider, other diplomatic options, perhaps a broader agreement that addresses some of Iran's concerns in other areas, likewise U.S. concerns, or perhaps at least an interim deal that stabilizes the current situation. But the bottom line here is that diplomacy is the only way to address Iran's nuclear program in a verifiable manner that provides the strongest possible guarantees that Iran can't pursue nuclear weapons.